Hi, today I'm going to show you how to install Kali Linux on your Workstation Pro. This is a VMware application. So the first thing we want to do is create a new virtual machine. And we're going to use the Easy Wizard. And I highly recommend you stay with typical. I'll show you why as we go. So we go next. And we're going to use the image. You should already have your image downloaded from Kali Linux website. So I go to my image. And I believe my image is going to be... Okay, so here's my image, and of course I use WinRAR, so it's going to show all my ISOs and images in WinRAR. So we open that file, and you can see it now shows it loaded to Kali Linux 2018.2 AMD. Go next. This is a Linux, and keep it with Ubuntu. Next. We want to be able to name this, and you're going to name this so you can identify it. So we're going to name it Kali 2018.2. Next. Now they always give you a hard drive size. I always make a big enough hard drive so I can download password files and such. So I'm going to make this a 30 gigabyte hard drive. And I always recommend that you store this as a single file. This is a personal computer. We're not going to be swapping this around. I'm not going to be taking this VM to work or anything. So a single file works really well. So we go next. And here is the reason why I say we use the wizard with the typical installation, because you can customize your hardware as you get down the road. So let me show you the easy way to do this. It says memory is 1 gig. All you got to do here, I'm running 12 gigs of RAM, so I can afford to give 2 gigs to Kali. And remember, Kali was a lightweight design. It doesn't require a whole lot of resources. I don't really recommend any more than 2 gigs. Now the processors, I'm running an 8-core, 8-thread AMD 8750 processor. What I recommend is I bump this up to 2, leave it the cores as 1 per 1, which gives me 2 processor cores of 2. Now here's the next trick. We leave our file alone. The net is going to stay the same. But your USB controller, now you see this is set on USB 2.0, which I'm going to tell you why this is an important setting. Can you see this antenna? This is a TP-Link. Hell, I can't read it. Can you read it? I'm going to hold that there for you for a minute. Anyways, this is my 2-way. But this is an older unit. This is a 2.0. Now, I also have the new AC 1200. And the reason I'm showing you this is because you will need to change that to a 3.0. Are you seeing what we're talking about here? For this demonstration, I'm going to stay with the 2.0. So I put my 2.0 in. And I swap this back to a 2.0, and we are done with the rest. So we close that, we finish our wizard, and VMware Workstation is going to pop that right up. We've already, okay, so now you want to know, how do we do the install? That's my, anyways, that was my VPN. Because I changed adapters. So now we go like this. Power on our virtual machine. Okay, and of course it's going to come up with, it's just telling me it's going to hook up my antenna, and it's telling me that my webcam is going to hook up to my virtual machine, which is fine because I'm recording this for your educational purposes. So we say OK. Now you click in your mouse, and now it's in the VMware machine, and we are going to do a graphical install. So you just use your arrow keys, go down to Graphical Install and hit Enter. Now for some of this process, now you hit Control Alt and you get your mouse back. What I'm going to do for you is now go to a full screen. So we are booting up Kali, and here is your installation. So I'm in America, so I'm going to stick with English. And the location is United States, American English. It's pretty straightforward install, but I'm going to show you the whole process because it's going to ask you about hard drives and stuff, and I'm going to walk you through this. And it does require a little bit of patience. Some of this I will pause my recording while it does an install, like when it installs the whole system. But I will finish the whole video from the beginning to the end. So now with the network, okay, the easiest way to get by this network deal is to tell, anyways, give it a minute here. Okay, the host name, never identify your machine. I like to use PT. Continue. I keep it simple, just leave this blank for domain name. Okay, for educational purposes, we're going to go with what Kali uses. The root password is always tour, which is root spelled backwards, T-O-O-R. And you always put that in twice, T-O-O-R. Please do not use the Kali set passwords for your own personal use. Protect your stuff. So we continue. The clock doesn't really matter because, anyways, I give my clock a general idea where I'm at. I'm going to go with Central Time. Okay, here's the partitions. Here's where you have to know a little bit about what you're doing. For beginning uses, and I still use this, I use the entire disk because I'm not going to be, anyways, use entire disk, continue. And VMware is pretty smart, so you don't have to actually change much of this. Continue. It's just telling you it is now named your hard drive. That's all it's doing. Now, yes, we do want all files in one partition, and you can see VMware recommends that. Continue. And this is just telling you how it's going to partition your new hard drive. So blah, 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 blah. Yes, finish partitioning. Continue. And it wants to know if all these changes are what we asked for. The reason is yes. So now it's going to create our hard drive. And it's installing the system. So I am going to pause my recording until it does the install. So you can see here we're nearing the finish of the install. Let's let it finish out. as I say in all of my videos, patience is a virtue of the offensive security technician. So they want to know, do you want to use a mirror? The answer is no. Check no. Continue. The grub bootloader is putting the master boot record into your hard drive. So we are going to give it the OK. So it's wanting to know, install the grub bootloader to the master boot record. The answer is yes. Continue. And of course, here they want to make sure that you're familiar with what you're doing. This is our hard drive. You have to manually see where it says enter device manually. Just click on it once, continue, and now it's installing the grub boot, and it only takes a second. That's a very tiny file. So here's the finish. And what it's doing now is it's making sure all your files are intact, and then it's going to pull out all of the temporary files so you have a complete running OS, operating system. So the installation is now complete. Continue. And here's the wrap up. Here's where it removes all the packages that were used for the install. When this gets finished, it's going to reboot the system, and we're going to be using an installed computer on your VMware Workstation Pro, and you will be able to go to work with your new installed OS. And here we are booting up Kali. If you remember, the username will be root, R-O-O-T, enter. The password is root spelled backwards, T-O-O-R, sign in. You got to give it a minute. It's a brand new OS booting up. Okay, so now we have an installed operating system. First thing you're going to want to do is go up here to your VM tab, removable devices, and you're going to go and you're going to make sure everything that you're using is connected. And as you can see, my Atheros antenna is not connected to my VM machine yet. So now we go like this, connect. And it's going to tell you a message saying it's connecting it. So you just heard my Windows give the ding dong. That means it disconnected from my host and it just installed on Kali. Now, we want to see if we have a working OS. Watch this. Open up our terminal. Mon-ng. And as you can see, my antenna is now hooked up. The interface will be called WLAN0. So let's put it into monitor mode. Mon-ng. ng start, and then the interface name, which is WLAN0. And now it is putting it into monitor mode, which turns it into a two-way antenna. We can send and receive. Now, for these purposes, you can read this. It says there's processes that could cause trouble. In my experience, I go both ways. I will sometimes kill them. All you got to do is copy and paste. Airmon, check, kill, and put it down here in the command like so. And you can do the check, kill. I'm going to let it run. When you're doing this kind of Wi-Fi work, you're going to have to try every way you can to do whatever job you're doing. Just because it didn't work the first time doesn't mean that it won't work anyway. So, the last thing I'll show you, since the antenna is now in monitor mode, let's see what kind of traffic there is out here in the airways. So we use AeroDump NG, and we tell it to use this antenna, which is the interface WLAN 0. And okay. So, you get the idea anyways. We now have a working Kali operating system. I want to thank you, and you want to see now to go back to our regular screen, we can just hit that right here. This takes it to full screen mode. And we go like that, and we can go over here, and we can right click, and we can power it off, shut down. And voila, you're back to your VMware. Now, when you come back to your VMware, this will show you what you've got installed. We've got Wi-Fi Slacks, which you've seen my video. We have the Kali Linux VMware image, which is a pre-built, and we just installed Kali Linux. So if you click on it, you power on the machine, and here you got it. A wonderful working offensive security operating system. And you don't have to do anything on the boot. Just sit back and let Kali boot. She'll bring you up to your sign-in screen. Don't be frustrated if you install Kali Linux and it doesn't work the first time. You do understand all this stuff is buggy, and your computer has to get used to the idea of using a virtual machine. So here we are. Thank you for watching my video. As I like to tell everybody watching these, this is for educational purposes. And I enjoyed your company. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.